William V.S. Tubman across the country. It followed a proclamation by President George Weah. The celebration is in consonance with the third session of the 42nd legislature, declaring November 29 of each year as the birth anniversary of the late President William V.S. Tubman. The proclamation has ordered all government offices, business centers, and other entertainment establishments closed from 6 in the morning to 6 in the evening. According to a foreign ministry release, President Tubman has been credited to introducing integration policy, which granted suffrage to Liberian women, and open door policy, as well as other socio-economic development policies. Central Bank of Liberia has set March 31 next year as deadline for the old Liberian dollar banknotes known as LS1 and LS2 on the Liberian market. The LS1 were banknotes printed between 2000 to 2015, while LS2 were banknotes printed between 2016 to 2017. The chairman of the CBL Technical Committee on Currency Reform, Musa Kamara, said the old banknotes will no longer be legal tender in the country as of the deadline.
Is very, very crucial. So don't keep your money for last minute to time. You have the opportunity to exchange your money now because it will be of no use to wait until March 31st to have a money that you can use. And so it will just be best that you make the effort to get your own money into the banking system right now so that they can be replaced.
Also speaking, CBL Director of Banking, William Jokble, said the bank has already collected and destroyed about 20 billion of both the LS1 and LS2 on the market. Mr. Jokble told ELBC Wednesday about 5 billion of the old Liberian dollar banknotes are still in circulation. Liberia Investment Finance Trade Project (LIFT P) has presented 2 vehicles and several computers to the National Bureau of Concessions, making the presentation a representative from the Commerce Ministry. Julius Kenne said the donation will empower the NBC to implement the LIFT project. Mr. Kenne said such intervention is critical to improving the investment climate, expand sustainable access to finance, and increase trade in Liberia.
Your work is very cardinal to us in what we do because if you give us the right data, it will inform stakeholders on the kind of decision to be taken. You need a lot. The last discussion we had with your director is to also look at the capacity building aspect. We were able to get 2 vehicles. We also have for you a lot of computers, like 13 pieces.
Responding, the Director General of the National Bureau of Concessions, Edwin Dennis, thanked LIFT Project and the Ministry of Commerce through the World Bank for the support. Mr. Dennis assured that the vehicles and computers will enhance the operations of NBC in the implementation of the project. Lofa County Senator-elect Momo Cyrus has identified with more than 2,000 persons with disabilities in Vonjama, Lofa County. According to our correspondent, 325 kg bags of rice have already been distributed as part of the initiative. Our correspondent quotes Mr. Cyrus as saying his gesture is aimed at improving the livelihoods of disabled in the county. Meanwhile, beneficiaries of the food ration have since lauded Senator-elect Cyrus for the gesture, describing it as timely and caring. The executive has requested the legislature for additional 26 working days to submit the draft 2024 national budget. In the 31st October communication, the president said the extension is necessary to give the finance ministry ample time to draft the budget. The president's letter, read in plenary Tuesday, said the decision is based on the continuous disruption of the budget preparation as a result of the just ended elections.
The basis for the request for extension is premised on the just ended presidential and legislative elections, which have impacted the preparation of the fiscal year 2024 national budget. As a result of these activities, the budget preparation process was continuously interrupted.
Consistent with the amended PFM law of 2019, the President shall submit to the legislature the proposed budget no later than 2 months before the start of the fiscal year. Meanwhile, members of the legislature said it will require the extension of their sitting, which is due to expire on December 8, to thoroughly look into the budget to ensure its passage. Some members of the religious community have called on the Senate to remove the abortion section of the revised public health law before concurrence. It followed the appearance of key stakeholders in a public hearing on the revised public health law Tuesday. The group under the banner Church Aid Incorporated campaign to stop abortion in Liberia also called for the removal of the comprehensive sexuality education section of the bill. Speaking in the Senate's chambers Tuesday, the spokesperson of the group, Bishop Cottle Brown, said the concurrence by Senate will be considered as voting against the religious, traditional, and cultural values of Liberia. Bishop Brown noted that the proposed law, if passed, will allow 95% of abortions to take place and would also lead to loss of 40,000 babies' lives. Meanwhile, Liberia Chief Medical Officer Dr. Francis Keita says the proposed law is intended to save lives. Speaking during a hearing, Dr. Keita said the bill provides time frame and made reference to those eligible to carry out abortion. He said if passed, the bill will safeguard, protect lives, and ensure that abortion is done under a conducive environment. The Liberian chief medical officer at the same time craved the collective support of members of the Senate to ensure that the bill is passed. Meanwhile, the Senate has vowed to seek further consultations on the proposed law to inform their decision on actions to be taken. At the same time, that's UN Women Country Representative to Liberia is calling for concerted and sustained investment in the fight against sexual-based violence in the country. Madam Comfort Lamte said investment in sexual gender-based violence remains low in Liberia. In the UN Women 2023 report, Madam Lamte stated about 245 million women and girls suffer physical and sexual violence, while 86% have no legal protection against violence, especially in areas where information is not available.
Violence against women is indeed preventable. It requires that we all have a concerted and comprehensive investment in prevention of violence against women and girls.
She disclosed that intimate partner violence is high in Liberia, with 60% of women between the ages of 15 to 49 experiencing physical violence. Madam Lamte was speaking Tuesday in Monrovia at the Partners Cafe on SGBV prevention in the country.
Zokwe best look on it there with the news bulletin. She makes a return to the news later on with the weather report and the roundup of our international developments. One of the big stories could follow in this afternoon. Liberians pay homage to their 18th president, William V. Stotman, as they commemorate his 128th birth anniversary across